All right, guys. So we are starting for our today class, try, catch, and finally. These are the keywords of the JavaScript, and see why we need this, right? So for now, I'll just connect my JS file, right? So script. Okay. We'll see. Maybe I will not need, or maybe I need, right? But let me run this live server. Okay. So I will inspect now, right? We want to see the error, okay? You know, before even we use try catch block, right? We need to understand error part. So these are something not related to our error, right? This is coming from browser. I will clean that up. Yeah, there is, I don't know, runtime error something, but anyway, does not matter. So if I will go here, right? And okay, let's console log something, okay, in JavaScript. For example, console.log, right? Okay. What I get here? A reference error. See the look at the error, right? Reference error. Reference error. The name is reference error. A is not defined. Okay. Because I don't have A here, right? So when this file runs, what happened? The global execution context created, then it will create all the variables or functions in the memory. I don't have any variable or function, right? So that's why in that case, you will get reference error if something is not in the memory, right? But if I say let A equal to 5, right? Then the error is gone and I will receive the 5. Fine. So you get the point now, right? This reference error. So let's see. That is one thing. This is the reference error, right? But let's not go in too much depth. Try to understand how we're gonna use try catch, right, to grab this error. So try catch is nothing but the keyword, right, which is used for exceptional handling, to handle some situation in the program, right? So try. So here you will write the code which is okay to execute. If something is okay to run, right, you're gonna put inside here. So for example, if I just put this code here, right, and then I'm gonna have a catch also, catch like this. I will get the object, right? You can name it E or error, whatever you can name it. Okay, this is just a property, right? Parameter, so parameter can be like a variable. So this parameter is object. Okay, so here you can console log this object also, right? Okay, so I have try catch normally and I'm trying to console log A, right? So now see what I'm getting. Okay, here let's save this. So see, this time I don't get that red color error, right? But what I get, I don't know if you guys can, it's okay, right? I hope it's clear, or maybe not. It's very small, I don't know why. Let's see, control plus, still, right? I cannot increase this console log font, I don't know why, how to do that. But you see that reference error, that's the name, right? And A is not defined. Look at here. The value is, the message is A is not defined. So that means I can go here, right? And I can call the name of the error. I can read that. And also I can read maybe the value also, right? So let's call it ERR object dot message. That I think ERR, right? Yeah. Message, I believe. Okay. So now you can see line 6 and line 7, right? Line 6 and line 7. Error name is reference error and the value is A is not defined. See? So that's how we can handle, right? See, the point is, if I just go here and put console log now, right? And then make it this line will run, line will run also, right? Also. So see this, look at this one. This line will run also. Even I have error, right? Still this code will run. The point is, if I just comment out, right? And I will just do console log here, A, and run this. See, I have uncaught reference error. A is not defined. Now you tell me, right? If I have some error like this and I don't manage my error, right? That means in JavaScript, the next line of the code will not run. That is the important things to understand, okay? That's why we need exceptional handling, right? And how we do that? By using try catch block. Clear, everyone? That's the main reason, right? Okay. So even if I run this, right, because I have this line of code here, you see, it's nothing gonna run. But soon I delete this, and now I have exceptional handling, try catch, right? My code will run, no problem. Even if there is error, it will pass the error message, and it will continue. Code will continue running to the next level. Good. That is the important message we need to understand. Now, there is one more keyword, right? What is that? Finally, yeah, finally. Let me check quickly. So try catch and finally. So finally is also the part of the same try catch. Finally, right? So here, finally means no matter if you have error or no error, right? This code will run in every situation. So this code will run always. Always, right? Like that. So maybe in finally, like after this, or maybe this, you want to do something, right? You want to go to this one of the page or do something like that finally, So in that situation, you put the code here, right? Even if there is success or error, still this will run. Okay. So let's run this, save. See, we have this reference error and A is not defined, and this code will run always, right? Okay, let me do one thing. I will say let A equal to 100 now, right? And save. So console log A, the try block will run because it's success. There is no error. That means this part will not run. Catch will not run. Catch will only run if it has error, right? And then finally run again. So this line will run also, always, right? Sorry. And then it will move to this part, okay? So I hope now you guys understand, right? The use case of try, catch, and finally. Everyone clear on that? I mean, I just try to put very simple example, right? To make you understand. Everyone okay with that? Yeah, try, catch, and finally, and why we need that. So we use that with async await, right? Because async await we use for handling the promise during our network call. And that's the reason we use try catch. And you have seen during our project, right? In the tracker, issue tracker, I think we use a couple of times also try catch there. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask me, right? If not, let's continue with the next thing. The next thing will be, we're going to learn about the promise, right? So you can just read through here, okay? If you get, just read through this. There is some, what is try, catch, finally, even throw error, right? We can use, why we use throw error, if you need to, like define the custom error somewhere, then you can use that. So how we can do that? Let me go back here. So let's say, I can throw error here, right? Yeah, I can. Let's do that. Just call the new. Okay, throw something, throw new error, right? So error is, you remember the constructor function now. We use new keyword to generate the new object, right? Same thing here, throw new error. So error is the, the constructor function. So whatever value you pass here, so this is custom error. We can do that, right? So this will throw the new error, but how we gonna, let's see, how we gonna do that? Fine, because we have to enter in the catch block, right? So let's see if we can get this. I will remove this and check now. Save. So you can look at here, right? I mean, we just throw the error after reference A is not defined. This code will be run always, right? And also we throw error. Okay, error equal to like new error, but we did not catch that error, right? We did not catch that error. Okay, so I mean, we can store it in a variable and display that, right? We can do that, but for now you get the point. Okay, this is used for throwing the custom error. Maybe we can use this during our try catch in our async await, right? Let's use there. I think I used there, but I don't. Let's see. Let's look at that. Yeah, I mean, we can write separate code again, write one more code and then explain that. But okay, that's fine. Let's or we can. Okay, let's do one thing, right? I'm gonna take one more example and then we're gonna work. Let's do that. For example, let's see what I can do now. Let me think. What I will do, right? I'm gonna let's write another block of try. So we're gonna have catch also, right? Catch. So in the try, so we're gonna do the same thing, console.log error, right? Dot message, or we can call the name also, it does not matter. So here what we will do, right? Let response equal to, remember the prompt, you guys have used the prompt, right? We're just gonna prompt something to ask question. Okay, so please enter y, right? Or anything, okay? Or any other character. I'm just creating something, okay? Just to test, right? So it's gonna prompt, it will ask you the box, like, the dialog box will appear there. We're gonna enter something, right? Let's say we put y, okay? Capital Y, right? Or small y will be stored in this variable response, right? So I will check if this response is equal to, for example, y, okay? In that case, if that is true, right, then I will throw the error. So throw new error, right? And let's call it this is custom error, okay? Something like that we can do, right? Now we're gonna catch it. So we have error and basically error.name and then error.message, right? Let's do that also, console.log, and we're gonna do error.message, right? Message. Fine. So let's see. So see, it just asks me the question. Soon I save, right? It asks me the question if I will put y, right? Small y, because I'm comparing with small y, right? So let's do that. Y and okay. And you see, you can look at here. The name of the error is, because see, it will throw error, right? This try will throw, there is error happen, okay? So now if there is an error, we can, this catch will grab the error, okay? If there is error thrown from this part, from this code, catch will grab that error object and we have the name of the error and also the, whatever the message in the error, right? So sometimes we, like throw our own error, right? Custom errors. That is what you're going to see in the next, when you learn React or Next, right? All the time. Create your own custom error also. But the point is, if the code is success, try will run. If there is error, this catch will catch the error, right? And the finally will always run, no matter what, okay? So just, be clear on that part. Done. So let's now move to the promise, right? Promise will be long. So let's do half maybe today and half we're going to do tomorrow. Right? I will close this. No more. We don't need this anymore. So what is promise? What is promise? A promise in JavaScript is an object, right? Representing the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation. So who remember the promise, guys? Who remember? Let me pause for a few seconds, right? Record. So before we talk about promise, first thing we have to understand is the nature of JavaScript. JavaScript does not wait for anyone, okay? The code will start running from top to bottom. It will be finished, right? Now, the second thing is what happened to the function, right? Which is going to take some time. For example, network call, sending data to the database, receiving data from the database, right? These kind of functions take time. So in that situation, that is called asynchronous program, right? Async. So JavaScript is complete synchronous by nature, but now we're going to create async by using some extra functionality, right? Or keyword called async await, or maybe, just creating a promise by using promise object, promise constructor, right? So the way you can use. So normally the fancy way, the better way is async await, but first we have to learn, right? The old way, how the promise is handled. Both we're going to talk about. So that is the reason, okay? If something is going to take time, in that situation, we use promise to handle that situation, right? So promise has a function. Promise function will wait somewhere until it will receive the data or error or whatever, right? The status will be completed, okay? And then that function will go back to the call stack and execute later, right? So that's how things work. Because we have only one call stack, okay? And JavaScript start running from top to bottom and it's not gonna stop. It will not stop, okay, until it finishes, right? So if function came back later after 5 minutes, still it has to go and run, right? And display the message. So the promise will do all that, right? And we have the event loop, which continuously keep monitoring our, whatever that stack is, to check for any kind of, weighted functionality to execute. And if it will receive that, it will send that to the call stack and run it, right? So we have a manager or call event loops, which continuously monitor, okay? So these are the functionality inside the engine, but it's okay. Let's not go that far. What we learn is just a promise. Okay, that is my promise for you guys today, right? So let's understand promise. Okay, let's go back now and check, right? So the promise is JavaScript. This is like 10-15 minute read time, okay? You can just read quickly and try to understand. Is an object representing the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation, right? Async operation. Async is something which is going to happen in the future, right? It allows you to associate the handler with an handler is nothing but a function, right? Which is holding that object, okay? So eventual success, value, or failure reason, right? So there is pending status. The initial state is pending. When the promise is created, right, the status will be pending. Once the operation is complete, successful, right, that is fulfilled, and rejected if there is error, right, failed. So these are the three status of the what you call that promise object. So we can create promise object, right, using promise construct. Remember the promise constructor function. Last time we talked about, we created our own constructor function, right, employee, and created all that thing. So array has constructor, string has constructor. We have learned that one. Okay. Same thing, promise also has constructor function, right? So when you have construct function, you can execute that function like this, right, with new keyword, so that it, remember, this returns what? Constructor functions returns object, but promise constructor is used for returning promise object, will be stored in this promise variable. Simple. Then you can add some logic here, right? So there is callback function inside, resolve, reject, and then you're gonna resolve it or reject it. This is how you create a promise, right, in the old way. Okay. How you gonna handle promise now? You have the promise, right? How you gonna handle? Then you're gonna use then for handling fulfillment. If the promise is success, then the data will receive in then function. If there is rejection or error, right, you're gonna use catch to handle the error. And finally runs code regardless of outcome, right? No matter what, fulfill or rejection, finally will run. So these are the three keyword or function, let's call it function, right? Then, catch, and finally, which are used for handle the promise. Clear? Now we have one example here you can look at, right? So this is function async operation. You can create a promise and return that promise, right? So new promise, just return the whole things, because remember this will give you one object. Okay, this will give you object, right? Even there is a set, you can inside this promise you can have set timeout if success. So if success, right? So success is what? True. Let success equal to true. So if true, resolve, run the resolve function, else reject function, right? And run this after 1 second, something like that. Okay. So if you call this async operation, right, you're going to see something output. Okay. When you run that code, you're going to see something. Now, how are you going to handle that promise now? Because this function has promise object. That is what we are just returning. Use the then function. Then you're going to have callback function, which will going to have result parameter. This can be anything, right? And console log result, or catch to catch the error. Okay. And finally, to handle the any situation, right? You can handle whatever. So this will run any situation. Okay. In any situation, either success or error, right? Same thing. So I mean, that is all the promise thing, right? Catch finally. So I mean, that is all there. Let's do one thing, right? Now next is how you're going to create promise, right? With using async await. Okay, so I put some error here. That will be, let's await. Let's make it a small letter, right? Just like that. Async and await, or maybe capital is okay, but async await. So what is async await? Async is a keyword, right? To create async function. Why we need async function? Async function will return promise also. So we don't have to use promise construct and do all that things. We don't have to do. Async and await is more fancy way to handle the promise. So how you can use that? In front of function, just put async function name, and just return whatever, right? So this whatever can be any data type, anything, or you can even write the whole promise right here by using new keyword, new promise, and return that promise, right? You can do that. So if this is just a normal data, right, then async function will convert your data into promise object. That is first thing to understand. Second is, if you are passing the promise or generating the promise, right, then this will not create new promise. It will just return that promise. Okay, clear? So that is the difference here, right? Either you can send any data, async will convert into promise object, or if you can generate promise here, then does not matter, right? It will just return that promise. Fine. So this is how we handle promise using then method, If you run this function, you're going to get promise, and then you can use the then method to handle the promise. So why async function job is to wrap the data in promise object, right? That is what I said. And if we return the promise, then it will not wrap in the new promise. If we are creating a promise, right, it will not wrap in a new promise. So that is all what I just talked about. Next thing is, let's look at this example, right? We can generate new promise like this, stored in a p tag, right? And then even you can return that promise. So the same thing what we talked earlier. Here we are returning promise, right? So how are you going to handle that? Same way, because when you have function with async, right, whatever you're getting is promise. So you can use then method to handle that promise. Clear? Now what is await now, right? Why we need await? So we have the promise function, right? But we want to await until the promise is resolved, right? So await means if you have await, right, the one thing important point is to remember is the next line of code will not run until it resolve the promise. Okay. So when we use await, we don't have to use then and all that, right? We don't have to do that. Just use await, and then it will give you the value, right? And you can console log that. Done. So that's how we handle using. And await will be always combo, right? It will come with async. Async is to create promise function, and await to make sure that that line of code will wait until the data is received or the promise is fulfilled, right? So that's the reason for await. Okay. So now, right, there is just some example. So let's do the some quick exercise, right? Let's go through. I think if you read all that, you guys are gonna understand, but still I will explain one time. It's some example, right? So let's script. So first thing is how we create promise, right? So let p equal to, we use construct, okay, called promise. So this is a constructor function, right? So to handle the constructor means to execute constructor and get the object, you have to use a new keyword. That's it. So the thing is, right, the formula is, okay, when you are running this promise construct, you have to pass another function inside like this, right? This function gonna have two parameter, because promise, we are creating our own promise now, right? So you need to handle the success using the resolve function, resolve, resolve function. The resolve is a function, and reject function also, right? Reject function, okay? So resolve and reject, right? Resolve and reject. So here, you can resolve it like, let's say let success, right, equal to true. I'm just creating something. Let's say I just make this success, okay? So I will say if there is success, right, if I am true, then I want to run resolve. Okay, I need to show you, right, how these things work. Okay, that's why I make it success. I'm just making myself success to demonstrate this, okay? Because in the real program, you will get error or you will get success by default, right? Either you get error, some error happens, something happened, right? But here I have to put like false or true to show you that demo, right? So let's resolve and run this function. So the data is received, right? And my data is maybe this, something like that, okay? Else I will reject function, and yeah, so we can run that. Let's say fail to receive the data, right? Data, okay? So now we have this promise. Let's console log this, right? Let's console.log p, because maybe you're waiting, oh, I want to see the promise object, right? What is that? So if I run this F5, let's see if we can get here, because this thing will be, so just check now right here. That's promise construct. Now you see the state is fulfilled, right? And the result is data is received 10. Okay, so this is not our real data, right? This is just a promise object. You can see the curly bracket. Okay, so let me make it big little bit. Look at here. This is the promise is object and stored in this p tag, right? We just generated our own promise. Okay, done. So now I need to get that result, right? So how we can do that? So p is object, and then we call the then method. Then method gonna have another callback function. Another callback is what? The function you passed inside, right? Another function. So I'm just passing the arrow function here. So this function is going to have this response or result, whatever parameter you can put. That is a variable. Let's console log, right? Console.log that response, right? So let's see. Run again, F5, and see. This console log p will give me the promise object, but the next here, right? I just resolve the promise and receive the data back. The data is received 10, right? So that's how you handle the promise, right? I mean, even you can have now dot cats, right? Cats like that, and error, and you're gonna just console log dot error, just an error, right? Just log that, and then even after that, let's see what happened. Sorry, I need to not like that. I need to pass the callback function, right? I cannot do that, I believe. So in this case, I have to grab the error and then console.log error. Okay, so when we deal with promise, you have to pass the callback function here, and then even you can add the finally, right? Finally, and you can just finally, what we're gonna do? Finally, just console. Let's see if this will work, right? Console.log. It will run. It will run no matter what, right? Okay. So let's run this code and see what happens. So it will run no matter what, and the data is received 10, right? So see, this code run first, right? And then only I receive this data is received 10. Okay. So that's the one thing problem with the then, right? It will not wait. Okay. I mean, remember when you handling the promise, right? When you resolving the promise, then will not make the code to wait. Okay. It will get you the data eventually, right? But whatever after that line of code is, that will execute automatically first. So that's why you see this first and then you see later, right? But we're gonna experiment using maybe set timeout or something, yeah, later. So this is one way you can resolve the promise, right? What about async await now? So let's do that one. Await. I mean, there you can find some example. Just experiment with all that example, right, later. So there are so many things, but it's okay. Even this example, let's take this one, right? It's same. So for example, here, right? So let's call it P2, right? Promise 2, and then I will put promise 2 here, and then yeah. So see, I just created new promise, resolve promise. Simply I'm just running the resolve function, right? Now I have handle promise, right? The function which is gonna handle promise. So this is async await, right? For example, let's look. Oh, okay, I put it here. Async await. Okay, so this is how you create async function. simply async function. You're going to receive promise, right? You're going to receive the promise p2. So how you handle promise in async await? Promise await, that will give you the result here. Whatever the promise is resolved and value is correct, right? Console log that response or result. You're gonna get this answer automatically. So this is how simple we use, right? Async await. So this function you have to run, handle promise function you have to run to make sure this code to execute. So let's do that. F5 and see. So promise is resolved and value is correct, right? Look at here. So, I mean, we can do like that, right? One thing, right? The difference between then and async await, okay? So let's look at here. I think where I put that. Okay, so this example, right? Let's take this example. I will explain. Same code, almost same, right? Difference using then, right? And await, okay? So that is what I'm trying to make you understand now. Why await is better right, than then, right? So let's see. So let's make this P3, promise 3, right? And then where we're handling the promise 3 here, P3. So see, new promise, we know how to create promise, resolve and reject, set timeout, right? And console log promise is resolved after 300 millisecond, whatever, right? Set timeout is a function. You guys know how to use that, right? And then you have to pass the callback function inside. And here you cannot, console log, but let's not console log resolve this, right? Resolve the promise after 300 millisecond, okay? So this will delay the process, right? Because just imagine we are trying to receive data from the network. That's why we add set timeout to delay the process for 3 seconds, right? Fine. Now I have this function get data. So it's saying, right, JS engine will not wait for promise to resolve. It will not wait, right? That means it will just print this line first. And then later we're gonna resolve the promise, right? So let's see. We're gonna run this function, get data function. We're just gonna run and see what we get, right? F5. Look at here. Promise is resolved and value is correct. And then promise is resolved after 300 millisecond, right? But remember this line of code, okay? It already executed earlier, long time ago, right? So all the promise runs later, everywhere where we are resolving the promise, it comes later, right? But this one comes after 3 seconds, okay? That is the last one, right? 3 seconds. But even if I can comment out, let's comment out rest, right? I mean, I can comment this out all. Okay, save this and run again so that you can see it clearly, right? See, JS engine will not wait for run next line of code, and now finally this happened. So the only thing to understand here is when we are using then method, okay, then it will not hold here, okay? This whatever line of code below will run. So that is one, I think that is one of the disadvantage, right? What if you need this data, right? The result what you gonna get want to use after this line, you want to use below this line, then I mean there will be issue, right? I mean there is a way to solve that, but for example, let's say if you want to use that resolve data here, you will be not able to use because it will take some time, okay? So that's the reason try catch is more better, right? So let's use that. Async await, sorry, not try catch, but async await, right? So same thing, let me just quickly copy, right? So this is the code here. sorry, and go back. So what I will do, I'm going to comment this out for now. Let's make it p5 so that the variable name will not conflict. Make the p5 here. So we const here. Always remember how to, not console log, but we resolve the promise, right? Okay, so this is same thing. This function will run after 3 seconds. Await, right? Await. Console log response. Remember this data. This line, the code will just stop here, right? It will just stop there until this code runs after 3 seconds. Okay, this will be resolved after 3 seconds. It will just wait here, and then you're gonna print that, right? Promise is resolved after 300 milliseconds, and only after it will move to the next line of code. It gonna just wait here. That's the benefit of await, right? So let me comment this out, and or maybe I just comment this function so it will not run, right? And run this code, F5. Just pay attention. So it's just waiting, right? Waiting. Promise is resolved after 3 seconds, and then the code execution will, basically this line of code run, right? See? So that means when we use async await, we're gonna receive our data, and that data we will be able to use same place, right? So that's the thing, to be understand, right? In async await, how to create promise, how you're gonna resolve promise, and plus how we use async await to handle the promise, right? Or create promise, all that things. Okay, guys. So that is all for today class. Let me stop here, and then if anything, you can ask me, right?